So the first sneak peek for Beauty has been released. Let's watch it, and then when we're done, we'll discuss it. 1, 2, 3, go.
Ah, detective.
You wanted to see me?
Yes. Can you tell me why I was accosted by one of your street rats today?
How did you know it was one of mine?
Because she left me a gift. Has your name all over it. Oh, and... Now, I telephoned her doctor. These pills are the only thing keeping this Tilly sane. If she doesn't take them, she becomes confused and dangerous, and right now she's off them. Now, get her to take these pills, and let's get her the help she needs before she hurts somebody. She needs to be locked up.
Look, you and I have always had a clear understanding. I help you when it suits me. Drugging and locking up one of my best informants does not suit me.
Do you know what suits me, detective? Having someone I can trust. No, I thought you were that man, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe you're not the man I thought you were.
Maybe I'm not.
Shame. Well, I enjoyed our time together. So much so that I may visit you in prison. I imagine a corrupt detective like you will feel right at home there.
Careful where you tread, Miss Belfry.
Oh, I've been careful enough to tape where you've tread.
That was not our arrangement.
But it is now. So who's it to be? You? Or the girl?
Okay, so I really enjoyed the sneak peek because I really love the acting between Gabrielle Anwar and Robert Carlyle. I can't believe I almost messed up saying Robert. That is my name. I should be able to say it. So I really enjoy the acting here. It very much reminds me of Regina and Rumpel, or Mr. Gold and Regina. It's very, very similar to that, which is interesting because, I don't like, essentially rehashing a lot of the old things, but I just think the acting here is so good that I'm okay with it. So I'm really curious to see more of the dynamic between Weaver and Belfry, because it's a really interesting dynamic because, Belfry has lots of money, but she doesn't have a lot of political pull, I would say, at least from watching the first couple episodes. Like she's not in charge of the town. She's not the mayor. She's not the governor. She's just a business tycoon, as I said. But Weaver is a detective for the crime unit, so he has a lot of pull with the law. He can do a lot of manipulation. He's essentially a corrupt cop, as Victoria called him. So it's interesting to see the dynamic of two people with such great power. And, I love the idea that Rumpel, or Weaver, excuse me, it's so hard to not call him Rumpel because I think he's awake. So I'm very tempted to call him Rumpel, but until then I guess he's Weaver. But I cannot wait to see Weaver and Tilly's story really come out, as well as Rumpel and Alice's story. I think Alice is a really great addition to Once Upon a Time, so I'm really curious to see how it's going to play. This scene is a great sneak peek because it takes place after a really cool scene, which I want to see, and then there's a scene preceding it, which I also am very invested in seeing. So, it's a great release, and I have a couple things we'll talk about towards the end of the video about release strategy. Now, this video also had great camera work. I really, really loved the wide shots of the office, and then also the close-ups of their faces. That was really, really well done. The score was also very impressive here as well. And normally I don't comment too much on Once Upon a Time score because sometimes it doesn't stick out, or a lot of the time it doesn't stick out. There's only really one song in Beyond, the musical episode, that really stuck out to me from Once Upon a Time, which was the end of season 3 when Elsa arrived and the music picked up the second she shattered the urn. So the music here, I really liked it. It captured the intensity of the moment. So overall, it was a very solid sneak peek. I'm very happy to see it. It was also released around 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so it's also released at a good time. So now that we're discussing release strategy, I have a couple things that I want to talk about, because I saw a comment the other day where I made a video discussing the Garden of Forking Path sneak peek, And I said, I don't like that they're releasing it the day before the episode. And the comment essentially said, well, who cares as long as they're giving us something? Well, that's not how it works. That's not how companies or media industry need to release how the media needs to release their properties to the audience, because we're the consumer. We watch it. We are essentially the ones who are paying them. They get a check from YouTube. They get a check from from the live ratings. They get a check from the box office if we're watching a movie. So they need the audience. So I just don't think it's a good way to treat people by just giving you something on a horrible time, at a horrible time, on a horrible day. It's essentially like obviously we're going to watch it, but it's not done in a ethical is the wrong word. It's not done in a congenial, polite way, I would say. It's like if you get a tip and, instead of putting it in the tip jar, they throw it at you. It's just, that money is essentially kind of cheap. It's money. It's nice, but it was literally thrown at you instead of, politely deposited. And that's kind of how I feel the ABC strategy is going with the sneak peeks recently with all their shows. So Scandal season 7, now it is its final season, but final seasons should be hyped up to the max. Like, you hype up your final season because you want people to watch it, because at the end of the day, you want to say, well, at least it's over, but we went out on a really great note. And with Scandal, they're releasing sneak peeks, just one, the day before the episode airs, just like Once Upon a Time. Now, obviously the episode is going to air tomorrow, so I guess they could release one the day of, because ABC did that with How to Get Away with Murder. But at the same time, with How to Get Away with Murder, they've only released one sneak peek as well. I don't think they're going to get a second one tonight, so I don't see a second sneak peek for Scandal airing tonight, and I don't see a second sneak peek for Once airing tonight. So it's really weird that the shows have essentially have become a lost cause on ABC. It's very sad, because ABC is not a standalone company. It is a property of the Disney company. And Disney knows how to market their properties. If they didn't know how to market, it wouldn't be a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, they bought Marvel. They market the hell out of Thor Ragnarok. I want to see Thor Ragnarok more than anyone. So I'm really curious as to why they're thinking the TV shows are not an important property anymore. But then I think, well, they are getting their own streaming service, so who cares if we have a couple years, because the streaming service is coming out in 2019, who cares if, essentially 2 years of live viewing is down? Who cares? Because people will still watch. Now, we don't know if Once is going to go to the streaming service, because we don't know what's going to happen Once Upon a Time. We don't know if ABC is going to shut down, etc., etc. There's way too many ifs. But I really think Disney's just thinking, well, the ancillary market is where the money lies in the box office. Who really cares about network television, because everyone is essentially watching it on their own time. And it's a little depressing. It's just, I've been covering Once for 3 years, and, following the media, really learning about it, really digesting it. I think it's just a crazy thing, the way it's just constantly, Hollywood is not a stable business. I know that for a fact, but it's just crazy the way that just the treatment of the audience and the treatment of shows, like TV, is just treated horribly in comparison to the way they treat movies. And the way I would at least market Scandal, Once, any show, I think the CW also markets their shows horribly, except when they hype it up, it's hyped. But when it's just like in its run, it's not done well, because all they do is release 2-3 sneak peeks, generally the day the episode airs, which I think is really tacky. The way it should be done, and I think it's the strongest strategy, is after the episode airs, you get the promo. Makes sense. It allows the conversation to last for a couple days. Then, when the conversation is relatively dwindling, this is specific for Once, but it can be, 2-3 days after, you release it on Monday. You release the first sneak peek on Monday. It gets the conversation flowing again. And then you can release the second sneak peek 3 days after that, which would be on Thursday. So this technically should have been the second sneak peek, because we've been getting 2 sneak peeks for 3 years, and now we're only getting 1. And it's a horrible way to market a property that I think could be very successful, though also the move to Fridays is probably not that good. And speaking of that, I really am curious how the numbers are going to work for Beauty, because episode 1 is the premiere. The premieres generally always do better than, the mid-season run episodes. And then episode 2 for Once was special because it was Jennifer Morrison's last appearance. So episode 3, I think, is going to be telling as to where the view count will lie. And I had said Emily DeRaven isn't a huge marketing standpoint for once, and it's weird because Belle is a great character to market. You know, Beauty and the Beast made $1 billion. You know, why wouldn't you market Belle? I just don't think the audience is there for Emily DeRaven, because I think the company, the Disney company and ABC as well, even though it's essentially the same company, I think both parts of it have noticed that Belle isn't a huge draw. She kind of just became a nobody character, in my opinion. She's one that I truly don't think is that special. Her stories were always kind of boring. But I think the companies noticed that Belle isn't a draw, so that's why they didn't bother to put her in the sneak peek. You know, when they did the Jennifer Morrison sneak peek, she was in both of them. Or the Jennifer Morrison episode, not this Jennifer Morrison sneak peek. But for Pirates Life, Jennifer Morrison was in the trailer. She was in both sneak peeks, and she was hyped up. And she released tons of promos on her Instagram and her Twitter. Now, I did see a couple shots of Emily DeRaven, and who's been aged up as Belle. And Robert Carlyle released that today. So I like the fact that the actors are promoting the show, but it's not being heavily promoted by the industry or the company itself, and that's where the problem is. So I just wanted to give you a brief overview of essentially where we are with television right now. It's a very fickle industry, and it's peaks and valleys, and we don't know exactly where it's going to go, because I think it's going to head towards the ancillary market 100% come 2019, at least with Disney. But who knows? So the sneak peek though was great. I really liked the sneak peek, and I really am looking forward to seeing everyone what you guys have to say about it and discussing in the comments below. As I said, tomorrow I will be in New York City, so I will not be able to review the episode until Sunday, in either a live or edited review. I will try to get a live stream up. I've been so bad with them. I'm so sorry. I'll try to do a live stream, but I will definitely do a edited review of the trailer and Beauty as well. The trailer review for obviously episode 5. So anyway, what did you think about the sneak peek? What did you think about my tirade about the ancillary market versus the the live market, or the live viewing audience market, as well as ABC's promotional strategies? I just think ABC has given up. So anyway, share your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll talk real soon. All right, guys.